Y'all, look at my overgrown quarantine hair. It's crazy. So I wanted to make a new video discussing one of my many medical issues, and since I already have 2 videos posted about pre-operation for my hysterectomy, I'm going to talk today about post-hysterectomy. It has been about 2.5 years since I got the procedure done, and it definitely did change things in my life. Not all of them for the better. I definitely don't want to discourage anyone from getting the surgery. It was still one of the best decisions I've made medically, so I don't want to scare anybody away from getting it done. I just want to discuss what happened for me. So, the initial surgery I got, and when I woke up, wasn't really all the way awake, and I could hear a female nurse saying, "No, we need to wake her up. We've been trying for 55 minutes." And I couldn't move or react, but I could hear her, and in my brain I was freaking out. What do you mean I'm not waking up? Am I dead right now? How am I hearing this? And I felt them give me a shot in my thigh, and then they realized that I was coming to, and they took me off to a room for recovery. Come to find out, that shot they gave me in my thigh was basically like an epinephrine to wake me up. So that was fun. Then when I was awake and recovering, they set up a morphine pump, and I really wanted to not have to use it. I really don't like pills or taking anything that pollutes your body, and so I really wanted to try and do without, but recovering from the surgery is very painful. And I finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready. And they had set it up where it wasn't automatically going by itself. I had to push a button to inject it. And so I had called over my husband and told him, hey, I'm going to push the button. And I pushed the button. I could feel the liquid coming up my arm and into my chest, and it immediately just caused horrific pain. And so the nurse came in, and she was monitoring me, and basically it came down to something I have now learned is called paradoxical effect, which is where your body has a reaction to a medication that causes you to have the symptoms that the medication is meant to protect against. So instead of taking away the pain like morphine is supposed to, it gave me pain. So anyways, they eventually gave me Toradol, and that was helpful. So I spent 3 days in the hospital, and when I had woke up on the 3rd day, I heard a baby crying because I was in that department. And so I heard the nurses taking care of a baby, and I just remember smiling to myself that I wasn't taking that baby home. Which sounds really messed up, but everybody had told me that I was going to regret my decision to have the hysterectomy, that I was going to regret not having babies, and that I was going to be lacking in some way, that this was just a bad idea. And here I was feeling relief that that was never going to be me, that I was never going to have to birth that kid and go through all that. And I felt relieved. And it's not that I hate babies or anything, it's just that that wasn't meant for me. And all of the things involved in getting pregnant and having a baby with my conditions would have been dangerous, and in my personal opinion, it would have been selfish of me. And if there was any chance that I was going to pass on any of my issues to a child, that wasn't worth it for me. So I felt really good about my decision, and that gave me some peace going home from the hospital. Recovery was really long and really hard, but it's not that way for everybody. I live with a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and so it makes everything a lot harder, especially healing and especially surgery, because it affects the tissues in your body, and it can make healing really slow. So for me, it was really difficult recovery. I had probably 3 months where I could hardly walk, and then things started to get a little better physically. I also dealt with a lot of medication issues. So since they had taken everything on my uterus, my fallopian tubes, my ovaries, everything, I had to be on birth control as hormone replacement therapy. And again, because my body reacts differently to things, we had a hard time finding a medication that would work and not give me a bunch of side effects. So we eventually found one that worked, and I've been on that for the last 2.5 years. But I also experienced a lot of depression, and I had talked to my doctor about that, and he called it post-surgical stress disorder. And it's basically my body was reacting to not having organs anymore, and it was freaking out, and it was causing me to have really weird emotional stuff going on. So even though in my brain I was totally good with my decision and totally happy about everything thus far, my body was freaking out about going through these hormonal changes and going through a major surgery when I have had no surgeries before that at all, except topical. But it just had never gone through anything really traumatic like that. I've had one fractured bone, and that was it. So this was a huge change to my body, and it was not happy about it. So I struggled with that for a long while. He gave me medication, and we'll talk about what happened with that on a later date, but suffice to say that did not work out for me. So being on an antidepressant was not going to be an option. And so I turned to yoga, meditation. We had switched to this current birth control, and that worked the best for me. It didn't completely take away my depression symptoms, but I was learning to deal. And a lot of that is just the power of your brain. I just kept telling myself, this isn't what you're actually feeling, it's what's going on in your body that's causing you to feel this way, and it's okay. So I currently live with clinical depression, mostly caused by the hormone imbalance caused by having a hysterectomy. I am in medical menopause, surgical menopause, so I don't experience it like other older women experience menopause, and a lot of my symptoms are controlled by the birth control as hormone replacement. Still, the hormones that I'm getting from birth control are nowhere near the amounts or type of hormone that I was producing naturally with my own stuff before surgery. So learning to live with that, learning to balance the things that are going on in my body, the things that are going on in my brain, and recovering from surgery was really rough. And I, again, can't take antidepressants, so I've just been seeing a therapist for 2 years, and that helps a lot. But also the lack of hormones has had an effect on me because of my condition. It has increased a lot of other issues for me. So for the past 2 years, things have really amped up. I've started experiencing a lot of new things, having a lot of new problems, and I can't attribute them to having a hysterectomy. I contribute them to my disorder. These are problems that I eventually would have had. They're very common problems in people with EDS. It's just that they're happening to me earlier and sooner and all at once, it feels like, because of, one, the hormone imbalance, and two, because of having surgery. So surgery affects your tissues, and EDS affects connective tissues, so it does not react well when you damage tissues from surgery. And since my recovery was not well last year, I had to get another surgery. I'm still having some pelvic pain, and they couldn't figure out why, and the doctor decided it must be scar tissue. So we did another laparoscopic surgery, and he did go in and clean up some scar tissue. He took my appendix because it was a little fluid filled before surgery, they had noticed, and then when he was in there, it was attached to the wall by scar tissue, so it was going to cause problems. And so he decided to just take it, and then he found a lot of what he called nodules. And it was very strange to him. He had never seen this type of growth before, and it was also surrounded by sort of a spider web of veins. And he said he's never seen that before. He took pictures, and I have pictures, which is cool. But he sent the tissues off to get testing, and the lab couldn't decide what it was either. They decided it must be new endometriosis growth and left it alone at that. They said it's not cancerous, so, good thing you removed it. But it kind of worries me because we don't know for sure what it was, and I don't know if that's going to come back, or if that's damaging, or what, but I guess we'll find out one day, maybe. But it also worried me because it had only been about 1.5 years since my initial hysterectomy, and already there was new growth. So that stresses me out, but I already knew that the endometriosis could come back even though I had the hysterectomy. So it was something I was already prepared for. I just wasn't prepared for it coming back that soon. It has been almost a year since that second surgery, and I'm still having pelvic pain. So we're still investigating that. Again, another story for another time. But I don't have that horrific cyst pain every month. I don't have horrible cramping periods. I don't have that familiar stabbing pain where my ovary was. I don't have the issues where I eat something I've ate 1,000,000 times and all of a sudden this time I'm just rolling on the floor in pain. I don't have to worry about that every month, and it is so nice. So even though getting the hysterectomy has caused other issues for me that are not fun, I wouldn't take it back. I am very glad that I got that done, especially for the fact that it could have caused so many other horrible problems for me that it just wasn't worth keeping. Period. It was not. And I can say that with a surety, having it gone, that I'm glad, and it was the right decision. And I really want to reiterate that my experiences are not everybody's experiences. Some people have wonderful experience. They don't have any issues after hysterectomy, and that is so wonderful. There's also people who have it worse. I mean, things can go wrong, but you have to decide for yourself if it's the right decision for you. I can only share my experiences, and there's also a lot of really little things that come along with having a hysterectomy that change in your body, and you're like, okay, what is happening? Is this because something else is going on, or is this because I had a hysterectomy? And usually it's because you had a hysterectomy. So I found a really great forum where I talk to other women who have had hysterectomies and ask them, hey, this is what's going on with me. Has anybody else experienced this? And I'm getting responses that are usually, yeah, this is very common. And it's just great to feel that relief of, okay, this isn't weird. And share with other people who understand you. So I would definitely encourage anyone else thinking about getting this done to go ahead and join a forum. They do pre-op forum. post-op forum, and you can continue to talk to them for as long as you want after your hysterectomy. You don't have to stop just because your 1 year of stereotypical recovery is over. You can keep talking to them forever and return the favor. Go back and help other people who have questions. Hey, this is happening to me. Yeah, I remember that happening to me after my hysterectomy. Karma. So, anyways, if anybody has any questions about getting a hysterectomy or any of my experiences, please feel free to ask, and I will answer as promptly as possible. And look forward to more videos about my other common issues. I also am planning to do a future video chat where you can ask me questions during my video and get some answers that you've been wanting to ask. So for now, I'm signing off. Thanks for joining me, and until next time.